During the reign of Trajan, two popes, Clement I and Evaristus I, were martyred, and Trajan remained emperor when Alexander I was chosen. The environment for Christians in the Roman Empire was characterized by cautious tolerance alongside localized persecutions. Christians were frequently accused of societal problems and mistrusted for refusing to participate in imperial worship, creating an atmosphere of instability and fear. St. Irenaeus of Lyons wrote that Alexander I was the fifth pope in succession from the apostles. Alexander is said to have been born in Rome around January 10, 75 AD. His name, Alexander, means defender of men. Historical sources place the beginning of his pontificate between 106 AD and 109 AD. There are a few elements that highlight his role in shaping early Christian practices amid Roman persecution, but historical records are sparse and rely heavily on later hagiographies. According to the Liber Pontificalis, Pope Alexander I is credited with adding the Qui Pridie narration, recalling the Last Supper to the canon of the Mass, emphasizing Christ's institution of the Eucharist. He is also credited with introducing blessed water mixed with salt to purify Christian homes from evil influences, a practice that persists in some forms today. He is also credited with the Eucharistic wine mixture. The custom of mixing water with sacramental wine during the Eucharist symbolizes Christ's humanity and divinity. Eventius and Theodulus were early Christian priests and companions of Alexander I, serving as his assistants in Rome during his papacy. Christianity remained illegal and punishable by death for those who confessed but refused to recant by offering sacrifices to Roman gods. A Christian, Simeon of Jerusalem, was martyred during this period in 107 AD in Jerusalem. A bishop, Ignatius of Antioch, the third bishop of Antioch in the Roman province of Syria, and a friend of Polycarp, a disciple of John the Evangelist, left 7 letters after his arrest, sometime between 107 and 110 AD. He wrote these letters to Christian communities he had passed by from Antioch to Rome while escorted by Roman soldiers. It is one of those letters that we first find the word Catholic, which means universal, being used to describe the church, wherever it is gathered around the bishop, assisted by his priests and deacons. Wherever the bishop appears, there let the people be, as wherever Jesus Christ is, there is the Catholic Church. He urged them not to intervene in his martyrdom, emphasizing unity and obedience to bishops. He was later fed to wild beasts. Trajan's policy, outlined in his 112 AD rescript to Pliny the Younger, prohibited the active pursuit of Christians or the acceptance of anonymous accusations. As a result, executions occurred sporadically based on individual complaints, rather than through widespread imperial campaigns. According to legendary hagiographic accounts, Pope Alexander I was imprisoned in Rome around 115 to 119 AD during early Christian persecutions for refusing to renounce his faith. He was guarded by Quirinius, a Roman tribune tasked with overseeing Christian prisoners, including Alexander and a prefect named Hermes, who was also jailed separately for his beliefs. Quirinius attempted to persuade Hermes to revert to paganism, but on the flip side, he promised to convert to Christianity if Hermes could prove the existence of an afterlife. Hermes suggested that Alexander I could explain the faith better and requested permission to visit him, which Quirinius initially allowed but later restricted by adding guards to prevent contact. That night, after Hermes prayed, an angel miraculously freed Alexander from his chains and transported him to Hermes' cell. The next morning, Quirinius discovered them together. He questioned them and heard their testimonies. Hermes shared how Alexander I had previously resurrected his own son through God's power. Skeptical, Quirinius mentioned his daughter Balbina's severe goiter, which is a swollen throat condition, and said he would become a believer if the Pope could heal her. Alexander instructed Quirinius to bring Balbina to his prison cell. Upon arrival, she attempted to kiss Alexander's chains in reverence, but he directed her instead to find and kiss the chains that had bound St. Peter during his imprisonment. Quirinus knew their location and took her there. Balbina kissed the relics with devotion, and her goiter immediately vanished, fully healing her. Astonished by the miracle, Quirinus released Alexander and Hermes, and the Pope baptized him, his wife, and Balbina. This event led to additional conversions, including in Hermes' household of about 1,500 people. Eventius and Theodulus also helped Alexander in baptizing the converts. Following these events, Emperor Trajan launched investigations into these conversions, which led to the rearrest of Alexander I shortly afterwards. One account describes capture by former church followers amid Roman unrest, leading to imprisonment, but this lacks contemporary evidence and relies on later embellished stories. Alexander I's pastoral influence amid persecution is highlighted by his evangelization efforts while in jail. He converted and baptized a group of criminals. They were taken to the port of Ostia near Rome and placed aboard a boat that was intentionally scuttled at sea, drowning them as punishment for their newfound Christian faith. These men are known today as the Martyrs of Ostia. Hagiographic traditions claim that alongside his companions, Eventius and Theodulus, Alexander I was martyred by beheading on the Via Nomentana, an ancient Roman road northeast from the city, but typically by imperial officials. Conflicting accounts suggest that he was martyred around 113 AD to 115 AD during Trajan's reign, and another places his martyrdom around 116 to 119 AD during Hadrian's reign. His remains are said to have been transferred to Freising, Bavaria in 834 AD. Pope Alexander I was the sixth pope of the Catholic Church and also the sixth pope to become a saint. The Church recognizes him as a saint and martyr. The Anglican Communion and Lutheran denominations such as the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America and the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod recognize his feast on the 1st of May. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, his feast day is March 16th. In the Catholic Church, his companions, Eventius and Theodulus, share his feast with him on May the 3rd.
Odile, the seeker of truth.